Lucas once had a perfect life, a dream job, a loving family, and a beautiful house in the city. But greed led him down the wrong path. He got involved in shady deals, deceiving those closest to him to make money. One day, when Lucas thought he had it all, something terrifying happened. A mysterious phone call rang in the middle of the night. "I know what you did. You can't run forever." Lucas shuddered. Someone knew his darkest secrets. Not long after, his company went bankrupt due to a financial investigation. His family discovered his lies and abandoned him. Those who once worked with him turned against him, pushing him into a dead end. Lucas lost everything in one night. And then he disappeared from society, becoming a homeless wanderer. One cold rainy night, Lucas stumbled through a desolate street and found a small, old church, standing quietly under dim streetlights. His feet moved toward it, as if drawn by an invisible force. As he stepped onto the worn stone steps, a bell rang, even though the clock hadn't struck the hour. The church doors creaked open, almost as if they had been waiting for him. Inside, candlelight flickered, casting a warm glow. An elderly man with a white beard and kind eyes stood near the altar, as if he had foreseen Lucas's arrival. "You've come," the man said. Lucas froze. "You know me?" The man simply smiled and handed him a blanket and a loaf of bread. That night, Lucas stayed in the church. When everything was silent, a mysterious voice echoed through the darkness. "Lucas!" He jolted awake, heart pounding. Looking around, the church was completely empty, yet the holy paintings on the walls seemed to be watching him. He closed his eyes, telling himself it was just his imagination. But when he opened them, he saw a shadowy figure standing at the far end of the hallway. His blood ran cold. But instead of running away, an invisible force pulled him forward. As he drew closer, he realized that the figure wasn't a person, it was his own reflection in an old, dusty mirror. But something was strange, his reflection was smiling at him in an eerie way. Lucas hesitantly reached out to touch the mirror, and suddenly, a vision flashed through his mind, a memory long forgotten. Lucas saw himself as a young boy, in a small room where he once lived with his mother. He saw her kneeling by the bedside, praying, "Lord, please protect my son. Keep his heart pure, no matter what happens in the future." Lucas staggered back. Why had he forgotten this? He remembered the day his mother passed away. He had blamed God, believing he had taken away the only person who had ever truly loved him. From that day forward, he turned away from faith, choosing instead a life of sin and greed. But now, he realized, God had never abandoned him. He was the one who had abandoned God. Lucas fell to his knees before the altar, tears streaming down his face. He whispered a prayer. "Lord, I was wrong. I have strayed too far. But if you still accept me, please, give me a sign." Suddenly, the candlelight on the altar flared up brilliantly, illuminating the entire room. The mirror in the hallway reflected Lucas's image, but this time, it was not a broken man he saw. It was a man whose eyes now shone with hope. From outside, the church bells rang for the second time, but this time, it was not an ominous sound. It was a call to awaken. From that night on, Lucas changed. He stayed at the church, helping the homeless and those who had lost their way, just like him. He was no longer the selfish, greedy man he once was. He became a living testament to God's love and forgiveness. Years later, Lucas became a preacher, sharing his own story to guide others back to the light. And every time he heard the church bells ring, he knew it was a reminder that God is always there, even in the deepest darkness.